America, the US Open is one of the top 3 tournaments that are played for. We actually now call this the gauntlet of polo. We start out with the C.B. Whitney, the USPA Gold Cup, and then the pinnacle right at the top, the US Open. It's our World Series, it's our Super Bowl.
It's very difficult to come over here and to win one of these massive tournaments. Like, that takes years of preparation.
The size of the organization to make it all happen is unbelievable.
Everyone knows exactly what to do on the 2.5 minutes that you have between checkers.
When you look at the modern day organizations, especially at the high goal level, it is so sophisticated compared to what it was, say, 20 or 30 years ago. It's within 7 figures just to field a team to compete in the gauntlet of polo.
Organizations, they take years. There's so many big organizations and there's so many teams involved. They're all looking for one thing, they're all looking for one result. You got to get the best 5 goaler, the best 6 goaler, the best 9 goaler. And, you know, people are planning their teams years in advance, but let's go about 80%, 90% of the whole organization is the horses. There are a lot of horses around, but the top ones, there's only a few.
Horses, for us, are the most important asset that organization have, because without the horses, it's not an organization.
The top teams really separate themselves with the depth of horses. They just have, 6 to 12 top horses, and they're very good at managing those horses as well.
You'll see a lot of these organizations, we'll save horses for later in the season. Maybe you'll play them early so they're ready to go, and then they get a little rest and then ready to go again for the major tournaments.
If you don't have the horses, you could be the best 6 goaler or the best 10 goaler. And if you don't have the horses, you're not going anywhere.
So the teams that have more horses, very good horses, they rise to the top. Horses is the common denominator in all those discussions. Behind the scenes, Formula One, you've got the mechanics, you've got the people on the sidelines to keep the cars going. And it's the same thing in polo. We've got that support staff.
It's a NASCAR team.
So at this level, it takes much more organization, many more horses, a lot more staff.
The organizations are huge, and I think there's a lot of people who don't understand how much work and how much effort and organization goes into the sport in general.
Both ends of the field, both teams will have upwards of 4 to 8 horses per side per team. There's sometimes, 10, 20 grooms there, but everybody has a role and a purpose.
We're able to play the level of polo we play and everything because the field crew does an amazing job during the whole year.
I mean, they come with a crew to the field. Each player has probably a support of 4 to 6 people helping with their horses.
So those guys on the end line, they're paying attention just as much as the players. They need to be ready at all times to, have that extra horse ready. You'll see some guys get onto 3 different horses in a chukker sometimes. You could compare it to a NASCAR pit stop in a way where these guys are essentially running full speed off the field. They look to see where their pit stop is, so to speak, find that horse, run up right beside. You'll see them jump from one horse to the other. The horse has a mind of its own, and you have to control that. You have 16 different athletes on the field at any given time, going full speed, playing a contact sport, so there's a big element of danger.
We're playing a sport on a live animal, so anything can happen at a high rate of speed.
I mean, when you watch these players, and they're going at breakneck speeds.
Every single team has world-class players, world-class horses. At full speed, it just makes, I think, our sport the most exciting sport in the world.
Just to quote Billy Wayman, the father of Tommy Wayman, former 10-goal player, He made a statement back 30 years ago or so. In the old days, it was cowboys riding cow ponies, and now it's athletes riding thoroughbreds, and that really, really rings true today. Well, anybody who competes in any sport wants to win. When you put a team together, you put a team together that wants to win.
The US Open is the top competition in North American polo. It's telling too when you talk to a lot of players, especially non-American players, about what are the most important championships, trophies that they have won or want to win, and it's the US Open always comes up right away.
The US Open, we have 9 teams competing, and there's 4 or 5 teams right at the top. You take Park Place, they've got close to 200 horses. Same thing with Valiente.
It must be a little tough going into the season knowing you have to compete against teams like that.
Park Place and Valiente are 2 of the top organizations in the world, realistically. They've both got incredible setups here in Florida, and they both have the access to all the best facilities. They've both got incredible breeding programs each side.
Valiente and Park Place have really, I think, had a big rivalry over the last few seasons. Even when Valiente played as Scone under a different name, they still had some great battles with Park Place.
Jack Whitman gonna win the game. He gets it done. Jack Whitman just won the CV Whitney Cup.
The matchup between Park Place and Valiente last year, where we had to play it over 2 days because it rained. They played in the rain hard, then they came back the next day. We had a little rain, it stopped, started. It went right down to the wire. I mean, the game was won literally in the last 10 or 15 seconds.
Ulloa, less than a minute to go right here. Ulloa in the red zone. Ilario Ulloa might have just won the US Open right there with that goal.
I'd love to see another Valiente Park Place final, but Ladolfina and others will have something to say about that, I'm sure.